A very good evening to you. Thanks for clicking on to the UK and Europe video blog. It's been a long time since I've managed to get a video blog done through one thing or another with the tropics, with hurricanes impacting the US. I've really, the whole schedule of the blog has been knocked and thrown out the window, so to speak. So I apologise for that, and I appreciate folks in the UK for your patience. I'm back and I'm doing my UK and Europe analysis now, and we've got some interest in weather over the next 12 to 24, even 48 hours, as an area of a pretty tightly packed area of low pressure is now sweeping across the UK. Now, you might say to yourself, well, what's the difference here? We've seen low pressure after low pressure sweep across the UK for the past few months, basically. And what's so different about this? Well, as the best of my knowledge anyway, I believe that the area of low pressure now influencing the UK and set to bring wind and increasing rainfall across the UK tonight is a byproduct, a remnant low of what was once Hurricane Irene. Of course, Hurricane Irene responsible for doing wind, rain, storm surge damage across the Carolinas. It killed upwards of 45 people, cut apart some 10 million people, and of course we've seen historic flooding across portions of New Jersey, and of course up into southern and central Vermont. That system was once born across the equatorial jungles of Africa, as the majority of tropical waves are born off of crosses and it's transported by the African easterly jet, crosses into the tropical Atlantic Ocean where it becomes a depression, a storm, a hurricane, crosses towards the western portion of the Atlantic, sweeps north around the outer periphery of what is known as the Mid-Atlantic High Pressure Ridge. So the system then sweeps around that, and of course in the case of Irene, it clipped and rode up the eastern seaboard of the US. As it went up the eastern seaboard, folks, it then underwent a change in characteristic. It went from a tropical warm core, low pressure, and of course a hurricane, to an extratropical system where it interacts with a more baroclinic environment. Therefore, it's interacting more with the Atlantic jet stream, which of course influences our weather. It's one of the main drivers of the UK weather. So as it's interacting, folks, it's becoming extratropical, also known as extratropical, and therefore it transitions from warm core to a cold core system. And as it enters a latitude probably roughly around New Jersey, New York City area, it transitions into that extratropical. It then becomes attached more to the jet stream flow, and therefore it speeds up its forward motion. So although it takes perhaps as much as 10 days to cross from the African coast over to the Caribbean, and then of course several more days up the east coast, it can actually take as quick as 2 to 4 days to therefore cross back over the Atlantic, across the North Atlantic, as a more regular Atlantic low pressure system. The reason being is the jet stream and the upper level flow in the mid latitudes is much faster than therefore in the tropics, and we are basically seeing the remnant, the original low pressure that was once Hurricane Irene now influencing the UK weather. So quite interesting, and it would amaze you the amount of extratropical systems that cross over the UK, and particularly in the month of September. But we see a frontal system sweep across the UK tonight in association with the remnant low of Irene, and that will basically produce a band of very heavy rainfall. It will move from west to east across the UK, but as it does so, folks, we're going to see an increase in wind speed, and we could potentially see some gale force coastal winds, and across particularly the southern portion of the UK, where it's slightly farther away from the centre of the storm, which is more over Scotland, and of course at the moment across Ireland. As it sweeps across, the isobars then tightly pack, and we'll see across the southern portion of England, and particularly across the English Channel coast, we'll be seeing gusts as high as 50, perhaps even 60 miles an hour in the next 12 to 24 hours. So it's going to be a pretty rough next over the night tonight, and across Scotland, England, Wales tomorrow. Very heavy rainfall, and that rainfall will become more showery in nature as the day progresses across Scotland. More uniform heavy rain and strong winds across more southern areas of the UK. The rest of the week will be driven by an unsettled pattern, but more showery in nature, as opposed to the heavy rain we're going to see overnight tonight and across particularly the southern areas tomorrow. And it remains cool, unfortunately, but the European model does predict in the coming days we could be seeing some height rises in the atmosphere, and therefore a more southern